It is 12:59. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans made moves on Monday, waiving offensive lineman Bobby Hart and defensive lineman Amani Bledsoe from the active roster. The team also announced they'll hold a halftime ceremony Sunday ahead of the game against the Houston Texans to add former coach Jeff Fisher and former general manager, the late Floyd Reese, to the franchise's Ring of Honor. College football, the coaching carousel took a turn this morning. Virginia Tech fired head coach Justin Fuente, who is in the midst of his sixth season in Blacksburg. Fuente had compiled a 43-31 record, leading the Hokies, who are 5-5. College hoops, Belmont rallied for an overtime win against Furman, a 95-89 victory, improving to 2-1. Luke Smith leading with 20 points, and the number 23 Lady Vols picked up a ranked win over 16th-ranked South Florida in Thompson Bowling Arena. Tennessee State in action tonight, hosting Fisk at the Gentry Center. Preds have won 9 of their last 12. A long road trip continues at the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. It's a 6 p.m. puck drop. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you.
Yahoo!
Yahoo is right. Lots of stuff today. Mike Bratton, SEC Mike, is going to join us in about 20 minutes, so we'll get all the latest around the SEC with him. Coach Mack in the 2 o'clock hour. But before we talk any football, they have a pressing matter to get to with both of you guys.
Uh-oh. What'd we do?
On this show, I mean, we're not afraid to be the butt of the joke, and I just need to know if something happened at my house. I need to know if it's okay.
Uh-oh.
Lucas
Oh,
Pinsick.
okay.
By the way,
I
Lucas and
knew I
Blaine
didn't
both
do
wearing
anything.
white sweatshirts today. It's a nice look for both of you guys.
Well, yeah, he's got the hoodie, though.
So
That's even cooler.
we need to put this out on a poll question too, Lucas. I know you handle you handle Buck Rising's poll, but we need to make sure that you if you could put out this poll for us in betwixt being the poll assassin for Buck Rising show before us.
He does the poll, and then he does our ding-dong.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I get home from the game on Sunday. I couldn't even bring it up yesterday because I thought they're going to kill me. I'm going to at least give myself a day to just kind of rejuvenate.
Man.
Reset the engines here.
what is this?
Kemosabe's going to have some flavor.
Was it as bad as Mike Wilson at me the other week?
No. So I get home, and my crew has decided they're putting up the Christmas tree.
Oh, okay.
So today is November 16th, so that would have been November 14th. So November 14th, Christmas tree went up at the Ryan household. Fully formed, everything's on it, everything, but there's no gift under it yet. Is that okay? So we need to ask this question today on the Blaine and Mickey show, adjacent to doing a show, which we will do. I guess it could be simple. Yes or no, is it okay to have your Christmas tree up? Should we do it that? Or what's the earliest it's permissible to have your Christmas tree up? I don't know. Let's get a ruling from you guys off the top.
I am a big post-Thanksgiving Christmas tree guy. Thanksgiving gets overlooked. Thanksgiving is the best holiday. It's my favorite holiday. All of them. Thanksgiving's at the top of my power rankings list. So I never want to disrespect Thanksgiving by putting up the Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. The day after, go ahead. Even if it's not December yet. Soon as Thanksgiving's over, I'm game.
What about like that evening after everyone's still buzzing on the turkey during the third football game?
Sure.
Is that okay? Because Thanksgiving's gotten its props at that point.
Yeah, for sure. I'm good with that. So that'll be the poll. The poll question is November 14th, too early to put up a Christmas tree.
We're just going to go straight with the date. Huh? Okay, that's fine. Whatever you think. Blaine Bishop. I'm gonna need a ruling.
Well, I'm not
show director
a big
of
expert
content
on this one, but typically the weekend of Thanksgiving we put ours up. So Thanksgiving's Thursday, we put it up probably Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, that's kind of why we roll. So if anybody has any input on that to defend or not defend Mickey
or
Ryan,
attack,
Mr. Voodoo T-shirt there, give us a call. Let us know if there's a reason that it's okay to already put your Christmas tree up. I see a lot of decorations, too, by the way. So
I'm getting pictures already from people who have theirs up.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's all preference. I'm not usually that's a signal to me. It's time to put the, decorations up and everything else. So then, you get the weekend off. So go up in the attic, bring down the tree, all the decorations and everything else. So, yeah. That's kind of how we work. Or my wife just says, "Where's the decorations?" Excuse me. Do you know where they're at?
Well, that's her way of saying, "Hey, man, go find."
Yeah, exactly. And I'm saying, "Hey, man, do you know where they're at? Because you know where they're at, just like I know where they're at." Ho, now. Wait a minute. He is not here yet.
No.
But I will get his milk out.
Okay.
Hey,
And the cookies. So
Chocolate chip.
Clock on the Zone TV chat says, I haven't put up a tree in many years. Derek says Christmas trees go up whenever Christmas is the GOAT. Ms. Drake says the day after Thanksgiving.
See? Oh, okay. I'm right there, close.
And there's Lonzo says if you have your tree up by now, you're a communist.
Whoa, wait a
There are many
the
people weighing
haymakers
in now.
out real quick.
Zone TV chat's moving pretty fast here with some takes.
Oh, you got to tell us some more, man. Just interrupt whatever we're talking about and give us
Here we got a couple of phone
Yeah,
calls.
okay,
let's,
before we
Mark Spain Real
start
Estate
in.
Hotline. Is it too early? We will talk football and sports for Talk Sports Guy. We do plenty of that on here.
Especially
But
SEC Mike coming on here.
that's right. But we wanted a
Yeah.
ruling on this right off the top. Zach in Smyrna, is it okay that my Christmas tree is up already?
Totally, and here's why. Because my wife and I put ours up a couple weeks ago at the first weekend in November, and the reason is because last year sucked. I mean, we both had
all kinds of COVID.
we both had COVID in December last year. We couldn't go to any parties because there were none. We couldn't go visit our family, and then on Christmas Day the bomb went off, and we watched the news all day. So last year sucked, and so we were like, you know what? We're going to double down. We're going to put the tree up super early this year. Ho ho ho! It's Christmas early. Who cares? We didn't get one last year.
I like that answer.
That was
He's like, we're going to live a happy life here. Last year was horrible. So we're going to put this tree up right now.
man. You just
Yeah.
ho ho ho. You
Yeah.
can't spell
But
horrible
you start
without
seeing the
ho.
leaves and everything else, too. That's kind of puts you in a Thanksgiving, Christmas mood, too.
Cheeseburger wants to weigh in on the
Oh,
Mark Spain Real Estate
Cheeseburger.
Hotline. What's up, Cheese?
Ooh, I need a
AKA
cheeseburger
Mr.
right
Burger.
now.
How are you?
I'm hungry.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing today?
Doing
We're
well.
doing awesome.
I'm doing good too. Yeah, I just want to say I think it's okay to have your Christmas tree up right now, Mickey. Our neighbors where I live at in Kingston Springs, they have their Christmas lights up. So this weekend I'm getting our Christmas stuff out. We're gonna decorate our house this weekend. So I think it's all right. And also, you can go ahead and book it right now. I'm gonna go ahead and call it Titans 34, Houston Texans nothing. You can go ahead and book it, drink your mimosas right now on that plane.
Ooh.
I'm calling it out. Titans gonna be 9-2 after this Sunday, baby.
Ooh.
Tighten up, baby. Titan Nation.
Ooh, nice. Well, I do think they're going to win, but I did watch the Texans versus the Dolphins. I think they'll win, but, hey, they play really hard. I get it. They just don't have quite the talent. So talent doesn't always win out. That's one of my big sticks. But I think the Titans are gonna get them this time. Yeah, if they are close in the fourth quarter, watch out. It's dangerous because they almost beat the Dolphins. They were driving down and then they threw an interception. So I hadn't watched the game, but it was
4 turnovers in that game. I think Dolphins had 5.
And I wanted to watch that game because Tyrod Taylor was back.
Mhm.
Or what's it, how you pronounce his name?
I think he's Tyrod now.
Yes. Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, Virginia Tech, but who fired their coach today?
Maybe he get the head coaching job at Vodtech after
right,
this
right
year.
when the season's up, right? But yeah, so I was actually impressed with their running game. And they got Amendola and Cooks, who's got some speed, could always cause
Still.
some trouble.
Yep.
Defensively they were flying around. I like what I saw. Not as I thought I was going to see, kind of like a bad team.
Mhm.
But they're just a notch below talent-wise overall roster. But don't let them sneak up and believe. Bury these guys early. I think they'll give up. But they played all the way to the end. But it was a close game.
It's like the Jets. They've proven to not be a very good NFL team this year. But the Titans just let them keep having hope. They stayed in the game all day.
Well, I think it's a stat, and you hear Vrabel talk about it a lot. That's really, besides turnovers, it's red zone scoring and defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the underrated stat that a lot of people just need to pay attention to more so than not, because that's kind of the difference maker of getting a field goal or a touchdown. And I bet they work on that a lot. Typically, guys listening and ladies, is on Fridays is the only time you work on red zone. and you run a lot of plays, but you're not running very far as a defensive back and a receiver, the skill guys. But you have to be very precise because of the small windows and not a lot of space for the offense to operate. So it's kind of an advantage for the defense to a certain extent. I always felt that way anyway, because I didn't have to run very far. And
you also understood I can use the back line, I can use the sideline, I can use you knew all the angles to play too. That's extra.
I never told anybody those secrets, but yeah, I do on air. I tell them.
Oh yeah,
but guys don't steal the day. I was watching the guy from I think it was the Texans. He backpedaled into the end zone. You see, if I'm a DB coach, I'm livid. I'm like, what are you doing? The goal is to get past that line.
Right.
Stop right there and guard them from there.
Right.
Make them go around you, throw over the top of you. All these little bitty things and understanding.
I know these things from you. How do they not know them? I know them from you.
Because it's not being taught. I was, just like last night, I was watching the game, the Rams 49ers, and the Rams, oh, man. Ooh, the Titans, the Titans may have opened up a can of on them, man. But the 49ers, and by the way, the Titans play the 49ers, and they look really good.
Yep.
Didn't look like, what have they won, 3 games now? They were, I think, 2.
3 or 4, maybe 4.
4, okay.
Maybe they're
but they looked. Oh man, I'm a little nervous about that one coming along. But the Rams ran a route what we call with tight splits with 2 receivers, 1 on each side, right? And you're playing cover 3, so you only got 3 guys deep, the 2 corners and the safety. All right, now if they run, we used to call it Yankee. We call it out, yell it out, and that means one's going to go on a deep crosser, which they ran. Mm-hmm. And then the other one's going to go on a go or a post. Mm. That's the only thing that can threaten deep of a 3 deep, right? And they just played it straight up. Everybody went back, right? They threw the deep, and the other guy had ran a go, so the deep crosser was wide open. Well, we used to call it alert, Yankee. That means the free safety takes the deep crosser. The corner becomes the deep middle now, and that guy stays on his guy third. It'd be wiped out. Jerry Gray all day. And we did it every single time with a pick. Every time. I saw that when I saw the Y copy and they showed it. I was like, well, they're not getting that kind of coaching.
Yeah.
That I got. Yeah. That's an easy play to me. They just abused it. I'm like, wow. Phew.
We got 2 more people who want to weigh in on Christmas trees. Let's just do this on the way out. We'll talk to SEC Mike on the other side. Cam in Nashville. Hey, Cam.
Cam Newton.
You there, Cam?
That was your red zone plays. They put
I am.
Oh, this Cam.
Okay, what you got, Cam?
How you doing, Miss Cam?
I'm sorry, you guys. That 14th of November is just way too early.
Okay.
So when do you typically put out? Your
I go by the 12 days of Christmas.
Oh wow!
Oh, good
Traditionalist.
Man.
Okay.
Yep, it's usually sometime around 11th, 12th, 13th. It all depends on if it's a weekend, and that's what I go by. That's what my mama went by. So that's when my tree goes up, because I get tired of looking at yellow and green and red and all the lights. I work retail, and let me tell you, we're already sold out of Christmas trees at Sam's Club.
Oh, my goodness. Cam, hang in there. Happy holidays.
She said 12 days before Christmas.
Man, I get tired looking at that stuff.
I can see how working in retail could burn you out.
I get her point, though.
I'll say this. I worked in retail. It never broke me. It breaks some people.
Hey, guys, she's definitely broken. It's
like,
I can't do it.
It never broke me. Like, I never got tired of the music. I never got tired of the trees. It never broke me.
Oh, man.
Are you human?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I mean, there's some questions there, and my normal would be the first one. It never broke me.
Man, I wonder why.
For years, I worked in retail.
Maybe Christmas or you don't know. You love to eat, so Thanksgiving has to be your number one.
Thanksgiving's way up there for me with the eating. Let's get Morgan right quick. Morgan in Hermitage. Hey. Yes or no? Okay on the Christmas tree thing.
Absolutely not. I'm going to come off the top rope, fellas. Like, this ain't. And listen, I write songs, so I have a Christmas song I like to promote every single year. I'm not going to do it now, but all I'm saying is, until you see a tree on the calendar, don't be bumping Thanksgiving out of the way. I totally agree with the dude earlier. Thanksgiving is totally important. I agree that, last year we had a crappy Christmas. Everything was a little crazy. But we don't need to just jump ship out of all these traditions. Come on, guys. Like, seriously, just enjoy Thanksgiving, get all kinds of tummy fat, unbutton the belt, watch the games.
Yeah.
And then December 1st, they're like, you know what? I'll prep myself now.
Hey, Morgan,
Hey,
by the
thank
way,
you, man.
this is our teammate, Morgan Alexander, who worked at
Yeah,
the Zone
Morgan,
for
what's
years,
up,
buddy. We
man?
hope you're doing well.
Well, I just had to jump in, fellas. I'm riding around doing chores today, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second, Mickey.
Yeah.
We got to have a house intervention at your house.
Yeah. Well, Morgan, are you playing anywhere that anybody can check you out? Or, go check out your music
I'm
anywhere?
usually playing, I play every Tuesday night at the lovely Legends Corner downtown. You can always catch me there. So
Sweet.
you always find me all over the place. Really. I just played Justin Timberlake's place the other day, which is a fun little place to hang out.
Yes,
So,
I've been there. Down here.
Well, I appreciate somebody from the
Pretty
Zone
nice.
keeping their musical dreams alive since all mine are just dead and crushed.
I've actually had 2 or 3 people that I play with, Mickey, ask me at some point if we need a bass sub, if you'll just jump in. So you just be on standby.
Yeah.
All right, me, bro. My
Yeah.
fingers still work. All
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's been practicing.
See you, Morgan.
Hey, and go Titans. 8-2 is the real deal. I don't care what Keyshawn said. We are the real deal. I can't wait. So go Titans.
All right. And Morgan's way bigger than Keyshawn. He could,
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Morgan,
big
man.
dude.
Yeah, Morgan,
Yeah.
but he's about 6'5".
at least.
Oh, man.
He's like a defensive end / songwriter, Morgan.
Yeah, man. Oh, you guys should hook up and play together, man. That'd be
I'm
pretty
ready.
cool. That'd be pretty cool, man.
Please listening. Let's make it happen.
I think I'll come out and see you play then. since you didn't tell me the last time you went out and I missed it.
I was late. I sat in with our buddy Bam, who calls into some of the shows.
Bam, Bam.
Bam Bam Rich. All right, we got to get our Bam Bam selves out of here. SEC Mike set to join us next. Talk some college football. By the way, you can hit us in his own TV chat at Blaine and Mickey. Is it okay that my Christmas tree is up yet? Feel free to join the discussion. Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. All those things. Mike Bratton, SEC Mike, joins us now.
Wait, hold on. Why is Buck's picture on our Instagram or Twitter account?
Come on now.
It's the slideshow.
I don't even have my earphones in here. Whatever answer is not acceptable.
Look now. Look who it is now. Look who it is now. Look who it is now.
Oh, yeah, now. Well, I don't understand why anybody's on there but us. I just happen to notice that because I'm paying attention to
It's a slideshow. It's every single show on the station.
Oh, my. When did they do that? I must have missed that.
They were during the commercials.
Yeah.
There you go. We're in good shape. Mike,
no, we're not.
Mike Bratton is on with us now. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Yeah. You got your Christmas
Doing
decorations
better
up?
than you guys. It sounds like you need to get your stuff together.
They do. They need to get this stuff together, especially people up there putting their Christmas decorations up already and even Thanksgiving. What do you think about this?
Is it okay to have a Christmas tree up yet, Mike?
No, I would move, I think, if my neighbors were doing that.
Nothing outside, just a tree in the house. Is that okay?
I mean, I can get by with that as long as they're not putting up the lights outside. Whatever you do inside your house, that's your business.
Fair enough. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. SEC Mike, our guest at Michael W. Bratton on Twitter, that SEC podcast. So a bunch of college football coaches who may not, have a Christmas tree up this year because bah humbug, they've lost their job. We don't need to get into the list, but I will ask you this. Do you think Dan Mullen will join this list at some point before the end of the season or at the end of the season?
Well, to circle back to the Christmas trees, college football is such a wild sport that we've come to find out Jimbo leaving FSU, we have to monitor the Christmas trees. Are they out on the curb a little bit early? That was a dead giveaway. So, yeah, if I'm a Florida beat reporter, I'm down there checking out Mullen's house to see if the tree hits the curb at any point because I think he could be in real trouble. I think if he wins out, it sounds like he will keep his job, even though that's probably not the move I would make at this point. But you got to remember, last season, Missouri, that was the game. Dan Mullen came out with the Vader costume, and there was also a brawl there, right? I can't remember if it was halftime or at the end of the game, but there's certainly some bad blood. And if the Gators showed up like they did against Samford, where they allowed 52 points to Samford, I think Missouri, who's fighting for their bowl lives, is going to show up ready to play this game. If Missouri whoops Florida, I think Dan Mullen's done by Sunday.
Wow. SEC Mike, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey, talking SEC and college football.
Man, Mike's throwing haymakers. Well, I guess we have to talk a little bit about the UT Georgia, and I guess Georgia, they are who we thought they were, right? I mean, man, that looked like an NFL team out there. I could not believe it. I mean, I was stunned. I've never watched them live and play, but, man, those guys, when they come, they bring the hammer. So, I mean, what did you think about Heupel going forward on that fourth down? Because I really thought that was a key. That kind of took the air out of everything in my mind. And then I didn't even like the play call. Let's even go there. Rolling to the left with a hooker right-handed, and nobody was open anyway. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly wasn't too surprised by that outcome. I thought Georgia would win by 30 points. They ended up, of course, winning by 24, so not a stunner by any stretch in my mind. But, yeah, I mean, it was kind of the playbook we expected, right? Tennessee comes out fired up, and, I mean, Tennessee's a college football playoff team if you just stop the game at the first quarter. I mean, I think they'd be undefeated, but it's the adjustments Kirby and that defense made that won them the game. And it's like you said, Georgia's who they thought they were. I think last time I was on your show, I said Georgia is a cut above Alabama. I had some of your listeners get on me for that, but I mean, how is that even debatable at this point? Alabama, it looks like they have kind of regressed to the pack of the SEC. I know they only have the one loss, but no one is, aside from that Clemson opener, has come close to touching Georgia. And I've been saying it all season. I think Georgia's going to win the national championship. And that's even with a quarterback that, the fans were done with, started his career as a walk-on, had to transfer to, I think it was junior college just to get an opportunity. So now he's back, got the starting role. I don't think it matters because Georgia, as good as their defense is, it may be the best we've ever seen in the college football ranks. Their offense is national championship caliber too. So there's just no one touching Georgia. Heupel could go for every fourth down. It wouldn't have mattered in that one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I know Stetson Bennett gets a lot of, critics out there, because he doesn't have that overall big talent. But with the way this team is set up, he doesn't have to. He just has to manage the game. And he's been very efficient. I think he's, third or fourth in efficiency in the country. So he's on some quarterback awards, too, as well. I think he's surrounded by a lot of great talent. And not unless they have to get into a shootout, will you probably ever go back to the quarterback. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he takes care of the ball. That's critical. When your defense is only giving up, it was 6 points per game heading into that Tennessee game. Tennessee scored 17, so that clearly went up just a notch. But who's going to score 20, 24 points on this Georgia team? I don't think anybody can do it. So as long as Stetson Bennett is not holding them back, which, he's not the perfect player by any means. His third down passing rate is not great. Their red zone offense is not perfect. But again, they're punching it in more often than not. They've got so many weapons surrounding the quarterback. I honestly don't think it matters who Kirby makes his starting quarterback, but it would be the most Georgia thing of all time to have this huge epic team, and then Kirby Smart blows the quarterback decision here, SEC championship, college football playoff. That'd be good for my business anyway, so I'm here for it either way.
Yeah, I think he's going to pull the Hurt Tua deal, what they did at, the national championship game against Georgia, by the way. So I think that's probably where it's going to go. Stay on the quarterback note, though. Will Rogers, Mississippi State, and the collapse by Auburn, man, kind of take us through what's happening here. And how good is Will Rogers? I mean, should he be talked about more?
Well, I mean, I don't want to discredit him because his numbers are ridiculous, but I think it's more of a product of just the Mike Leach system. And because you just look across the board, I mean, he's been doing this for 20 years now. So, again, I'm not trying to take away from Will Rogers because he's certainly taken a step forward. He struggled at times last year. Mississippi State was very inconsistent. We even saw that to start the season. I mean, there was Louisiana Tech, they were struggling. Memphis, they were struggling. But it just seems like it's clicked for that offensive line, those receivers. And, of course, Will Rogers, who just threw 6 touchdowns against the Auburn Tigers, who were talking trash and into that game saying their secondary was going to shut him down. Well, they just shut down Auburn's season is what they did. So, yeah, I mean, this is what we thought we were getting with Mike Leach, and that's what they showed. When they came out there against LSU in the season opener last year, took the SEC by storm, but that lasted all about a week because they didn't have a quarterback that had any touch. Now Will Rogers has got that, and all of a sudden this Egg Bowl here, it's not this weekend, but Thanksgiving night, Ole Miss at Mississippi State, the winner is going to be second place in the SEC West, and I don't think anybody saw that coming in heading into this season.
Yeah, being a former football player, let's stay on this real quick before I hand it back to Mickey, is Bo Nix, he played with a hurt ankle or was it a broken ankle? I know he had surgery, but, man, that's pretty impressive. I know, because he kind of moves around. It's not like he's a statue-type quarterback.
Yeah, and I went back and rewatched that game this morning, and it was clear. He broke his ankle, and it was bothering him. And like you said, I mean, he's a mobile guy. They like to move him out of the pocket, get him on the run, and they were still calling those. So he didn't, tap out. He didn't say, I cannot do it. He basically just tried to go on through it, and it was clear he was just ineffective from that point. And you hate it because he was finally – I mean, he was throwing some dimes in that game. They were up 28-3,
right,
and the injury occurred in the third quarter, like you said. They didn't pull him out until there was about 2 minutes left in the ball game when it was clear that he was just totally ineffective. But he was still completing passes. He was still trying to gut it out. And, man, I give that kid all the credit in the world because I do not see how he stayed in the game other than just his pain tolerance must be incredible.
Yeah, we're on with Mike Bratton, SEC Mike.
How interesting do you think Arkansas can make things versus Bama this weekend?
I think they can certainly make it interesting. I mean, this is, again, what I just say. The Alabama is just not the dynasty that they have been. Now, I know they're number 2 in the country, and that's good and well, but to me there's a huge gap between number 1 and number 2 this year, and we've seen LSU challenge Alabama. LSU probably should have won that game. They had 2 opportunities late in the game, and this is not a very good LSU team. Tennessee gave Alabama fits. Now, Arkansas, their game plan obviously is just going to be run the ball, kill that clock, limit Bryce Young's opportunities, because I think Alabama and their receiving core is going to be a huge problem for Arkansas secondary. The secondary is not the strength of that Razorback team, but we're to the point where we need to stop doubting Sam Pittman and the Razorbacks because they have a quality team, and I think their coaches, their coordinators in particular, probably the best pair in the SEC. I think Arkansas can give them a game. I just wish it was in Fayetteville if I'm an Arkansas fan because clearly playing at night with that fan, I mean, we saw that against the Texas game. That was the difference in the game against the Longhorns.
SEC Mike, our guest, you were talking about number 1 and number 2 and who's here and who's where. How do you think the college football playoff rankings look this week?
I mean, same old, because I don't think there was many upsets this weekend, clearly not in the SEC. The only big one was Ole Miss, so I'll be interested to see where they are at in the upcoming rankings, but it certainly just looks like we're headed towards another Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and insert another team like a Cincinnati that's going to lose by 50 in the first round of the playoff, or maybe throw in a victim from the Pac-12. I think Oklahoma, I think they're done after last week because the playoff committee didn't have any respect for them anyway, and they just lost to Baylor. So, again, to me, it's basically a 2-3 team race at this point: Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State, and everybody else.
I know I started with the coaching carousel questions. You mentioned Baylor beating Oklahoma. I was looking at Dave Aranda after the game, and I thought, I wonder if this gets him the LSU job based on who may or may not take it ahead of him. I wonder if this could get him that job.
Well, I mean, there's obvious ties there, considering how long he was there. He was the defensive coordinator, obviously, when they won the national championship. But I just don't see that being as a good fit, to be honest with you, because as fantastic as a coach as he is, I just don't think he's that relentless recruiter. And he's a West Coast guy. And the whole time he was in Baton Rouge, all I've heard was he was jumping at the chance to go out west. So I think if he's going to leave Baylor, it's going to be more realistic for a Southern Cal. I think that would fit Dave Aranda. Whereas LSU, the name I keep hearing over and over from people I trust is Mel Tucker. And we'll see if he stays at Michigan State or not. But I think it's going to be Mel Tucker. And now we've got speculation, Lincoln Riley. That's the new hot rumor for LSU. I think it's going to be a big, big name. I don't think Dave Aranda's done enough, as good of a defense coordinator as he is, to get that LSU head coaching job.
Or Billy Napier. I know he's really wanted that thing too. The Sun Belt coach at Louisiana, who's just been waiting, but probably not a big enough.
He may be fourth on the list and then gets the job.
Maybe so. SEC Mike was first on our list today, though, and he's on with us now at Michael W. Bratton on Twitter, that SEC pod.
Well, let's stay on the coach. One more coach, Lane Kiffin. Got to mention his name with one of these jobs, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it even if you weren't going to ask me, because I think Tennessee fans are not going to like this. But, if Florida does make a move on Dan Mullen, I would not be surprised if it's old Lane Kiffin that gets a call from Scott Strickland and the Florida Gators. I think that would make a ton of sense. I think LSU should try to hire Lane Kiffin, but I think given the behind-the-scenes issues with Les Miles and Coach O, they probably don't want to go down the road of Lane Kiffin. Not that he's a bad actor or anything, but he certainly had his issues in the past, which I think are behind him. But I don't know. I think the Florida Gators make that call to Lane Kiffin, and I think he'd take that call. I think he'd take that job too if they offered it to him.
Well, I have to ask you about some awards and where you think coaches as well as players are at. And let's start with SEC Coach of the Year. Does that just happen to go to Kirby Smart, or is Heupel even actually on your list?
No, I wouldn't put Heupel under consideration at this point because, I think he's doing a heck of a job. Make no mistake, he's got the Vols relevant again, and they're competing against some of the best teams in the country. But I'm just not seeing enough wins. Who's he beating? Kentucky, Missouri, South Carolina. That's not SEC Coach of the Year worthy. It's got to be Kirby Smart at this point. But if it's not him, if Arkansas pulls off the upset against Alabama, I'm giving it to Sam Pittman. And if for whatever reason Georgia stumbles along the way and Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl, I think Lane Kiffin. I think those are your three candidates: Kiffin, Pittman, Kirby Smart. But right now, I got to give it to Kirby Smart.
No doubt about it. We're on with Mike Bratton, SEC Mike. And lastly, for me, who you got as your top three for Heisman? Because, man, I don't know who's pulling away yet.
Yeah, I know. I keep asking Heisman voters. They're not supposed to tell you who they're voting for, so I don't ask them that. But I ask them where they're leaning, and every one I ask, they give me 5 to 10 different names. So I'm kind of right there with them. For me, I'd go. I mean, I think Matt Corral's got to be in consideration because I think Ole Miss would be a lot closer to 6-6 without him. He's got to be up there for me. I'm starting to warm up to the idea of Will Anderson, Alabama outside linebacker. He's incredible. And just because I'm a big old guy, I've always loved the linemen. I want to see Jordan Davis up there. I want to see how many seats he takes at the Heisman ceremony. He may take 3 or 4 seats, but I would just love to see a defensive tackle, nose guard type at the Heisman ceremony. I think that's too unrealistic, but I know I sure would love to see it. And usually this award, they just give it to the quarterback on the best team. Why not give it to the biggest, baddest lineman on the best defense this year? I think that'd be fitting.
Man, bringing the noise. Mike Bratton, SEC Mike.
Hey, on the way out, Mike, what are you hearing bowl-wise possible for Tennessee?
Right now, Music City, Liberty Bowl. I think those are the 2 bowls that want the Vols the most because, you'd get fan attendance and all that going. And I know the Liberty Bowl for years and years has coveted Tennessee, but I think if Tennessee finishes strong, they should be hoping for better outlooks down there. Maybe one of those bowls down there in Florida, like the Tax Slayer. I think that's a realistic option given the fact that, Tennessee seems to be on the rise. They're fun. They're engaging. There was some consideration that they may not get to a bowl game because of the bowl ban and all that, which, of course, they said they're not imposing themselves. So I think Tennessee is a realistic option after not going to a bowl game here for the last season. So I think the Tax Slayer, that certainly makes sense. But if they stumble for whatever reason, which I don't think they will, but it beat Vanderbilt and punched their ticket, I think it's going to be the Liberty Bowl in that scenario.
Mike, thank you, man. Always great catching up with you. People can follow you on Twitter at Michael W. Bratton. And, of course, that SEC podcast. Everybody needs to be listening to that as well. Thank you, sir, for the time today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep,
Yes,
Merry
sir.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
No, I said it because he said it better not happen. Thanksgiving's first.
All right, here's what we're going to do next. We give our game balls away every Tuesday. We're not actually giving away footballs. I know that confuses people sometimes when we say that. But we are going to pick our offensive, defensive, and special teams players of the week for the Titans. Here's the thing. We'd love to get your input on this as well. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Lines are open, 615-737-1045. You can also hit us in the Zone TV chatter on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Titans game balls Tuesday next. The NFL season is, it's fun. It's big like it always is. And how about this? A big Week 11 divisional matchup between the rivals, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make a big matchup even bigger just for you. That's because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. Here's what that means. That means you or me or anybody could win $150 on just a $5 bet. Now, right now, I'm leaning Seahawks in this thing. I think they're going to be pretty mad about what happened in the Green Bay game, and I think they're going to play like it. But you pick the side that you want. FanDuel is sports betting made simple. They're always going to hook you up with great offers. It's safe. It's easy to use. And when they pay you in as little as 2 hours. So sign up to America's #1 sportsbook. If you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel is going to hook all customers up with $50 when you refer a friend. Plus, your friend will get $50 too. Again, promo code Mickey. When you sign up, you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Again, promo code Mickey, M-I-C-K-E-Y. Got to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. New users only $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users filled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you got a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. People continue to weigh in on this topic on our Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Is November 14th too early to put up a Christmas tree? Our boss just came here and said his went up on November 13th at his house.
Yeah, he beat you.
He beat me by a day, so you can weigh in there, Zone TV chat, anywhere you want to. On Tuesday, we give game balls. We pick our Titan performances of the week. You're always welcome to join us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, 615-737-1045, or you can jump in the Zone TV chat or on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey, any of those places. Lucas Panzica, we will start with you. Your Titans game balls for this week.
Yeah, out of respect to the youngster.
I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill for the way he's had to kind of stick in there, get the ball out really early on a lot of plays, and with the revolving door wide receiver. I have a feeling one of y'all is going to say one of the wide receivers, the one wide receiver that had a big day on Sunday. So I'll give it to Tannehill, man. He's been consistent, and I know he's thrown some interceptions that would have been uncharacteristic of him last year. He's taken a lot more sacks, but he's been under duress more than he ever has in his Titans career. I think he's a huge reason why he didn't lose them the game. He hasn't done anything to lose them the game at all during this run. I think that's a huge part of it.
Ryan Tannehill on offense for Lucas Panzica.
I'm going to take Dylan Cole on special teams. I have to. That completely changed the game. The Titans took full control. It felt like an insurmountable lead in that moment, right? Even though the Saints two made extra points and it's going into overtime, but Dylan Cole turned that game on its head with the forced fumble. And defensively, I'm going to say Monty Rice. He's kind of flying around on Sunday. So the rookie has come along here at 10 games into his rookie season.
Man, he took 2 of my 3. I did not go Tannehill, just letting you know. And I did go with
one of the receivers that he mentioned.
I mean, it was pretty clear-cut in this game, I think. I want to add one other player to this list, and it's just overall, and that is to the referee, the head referee, for calling that unnecessary roughness on Tannehill, where he threw an interception. We got the ball, then we scored a touchdown. So what's his name? Bogert?
Jerome Boger.
Yeah. He gets a game ball for his horrible call that helped us. Finally got one go our way. That means we doing really well, and we going to the SB. Yeah, you start getting calls like that. It was in our favor. Yep. So I'm going there. Johnson, Cole, and Monty Rice, of course, with all the tackles. Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you say that because,
I mean, Simmons still had a good day.
Oh yeah,
you can go down the list of guys, but
football people who believe if I beat the man across from me, if my team out schemes them, if we exploit matchups, I've heard a lot of football people say something like what you just said. When weird things starts happening for your team, like you get a call that you would never get, or a guy fumbles and the ball just rolls to somebody else on your team. I've heard football
kicker
people
missed 2 extra points.
Right. I've heard football people say you need some of that to have a truly special season. You got to have some luck. Yeah. You just have to. And when things like that start going your way, they say people on the team start to think, okay, things are going our way.
We're going to win this.
We're going to win this game no matter what happens. We'll win. Yeah,
and that's where this team is at. I think they continue to find ways to win games, and differently too. So with the injuries, maybe to Dupree, offense going to have to ratchet up. I think they're adjusting still, but they're getting better. But that was a good defense they played. So don't want to take anything away from the Saints. But yeah, we would call it the football gods. I always use the word luck, but as players, we call it the football gods. Yeah. They never want to say, we were lucky. No, we had luck. Nah.
Football gods. That
gods.
Works. Will Tennessee in the Zone TV chat says Cole is MVP. Cole's caused fumble, he says. I don't know.
Yeah, Dylan Cole. That was big time.
That was
Stole
big time.
Possessions, got a touchdown.
I had Marcus Johnson, but I tried to go a little bit deeper inside his numbers because I think it's just easy to go, he caught 5 balls for 100 yards.
But it was because who we did it against. It was Lattimore. Most of at least the long one was.
50 when Lattimore was running 3 steps behind him the whole way.
And now he got rubbed. So I call it's a pick if people don't understand what I'm talking about. 2 receivers closer. But the Titans knew they were going to get man-to-man. And he just rubbed him. The other receiver rubbed him and got in his way just enough to give him a crease. And that's all he needed. But one thing I can say is Lattimore was not gaining ground.
Mm-mm.
It was even Steven at best.
So Marcus Johnson, when he had his 50-yard play, before that play, the Titans had run 7 plays and had 7 yards. Then he got 50 on that rub play against Lattimore, where he carried him across the formation and caught the ball and kept going.
Mm-hmm.
So they had 7 yards on 7 plays before that.
Dang.
So that was kind of, they could take a breath. They'd had 2 3 and outs. Then they'd had another play before that I think that had gotten 3 yards. Then Johnson busts loose for 50 yards. He had 64 yards after the catch. 4 of his 5 catches went for first downs in a game which turned out to be, for every first down was a premium. As close as that game was, 4 of his 5 catches went for first downs. They made 10 first downs through the air all day. He had 40% of them.
Wow.
And that just shows you everything was important that he did. There was no show to it. Like every one of those catches really meant something that he got.
And he became the go-to guy really in critical situations.
He was.
With A.J. Brown. I did not see them double him, but I know they had a safety over the top. It just seems like he wasn't too much involved in the offense. I just didn't see it. Maybe they was using him as a decoy as they did on a couple times. You could see it clear as day.
Yep.
More so than not. But to me, if you have Lattimore on Johnson, you think, we're probably going to lose that battle most of the times, and they didn't. So that hats off to Johnson and all the receiving core. I thought they did a solid job considering.
Do you think, AJ, I know nobody's 100% physical. I'll say that. Everybody's got something they're dealing with right now. Do you think something's going on with him physically, like some of the stuff he had his surgeries on last year? And again, I know everybody's hurt to a certain extent.
Good, but at the end of the day, I just think he's just having some concentration issues. I don't see anything other than that. Yeah, he's still getting open. He's still the same guy. I don't see anything. Yeah, nothing major. Now sometimes when you're injured, though, I can say this goes on. You start worrying about the actual injury, and maybe you're running and you feel a little pain or something, and then that kind of makes you lose your concentration for a brief second. Because usually you can stop and plant and turn, and you're like, oh, there you go. Oh, dang, I dropped it. Yeah. See, so those things can happen, but nobody cares about that, to be honest.
If you're out there,
that way, everybody's got something going on, some more than others. Hey, who's to say? Lewan gave up a sack, Lamb gave up a sack, but they're playing. Probably not fully healthy, just like everybody else.
Monty Rice, I think we doubled down on him, led the Titans in tackles, also continues to play special teams. It makes the difference on special teams.
Yeah, Hooker told us he was his best special teamer last week.
He did. He sure did. And then on special teams, I couldn't pick one person. I gave it to everybody. Even Mike Vrabel said we won special teams, which I thought was interesting. He doesn't normally say stuff like that. But special teams made a big difference. The forced fumble by Cole, Bullock, perfect on kicks. The Saints kicker, not perfect on kicks.
Kicking from that Harris. That returner is man, you couldn't catch him in the phone booth. I know some of you guys don't know what a phone booth is, but Lucas, he did.
Curry did a fantastic job.
Have you ever been in a phone booth?
Kicking around that dude all day long. Have you ever used a payphone?
Have you ever seen one?
I've definitely used a payphone.
Really?
Like in airports. I traveled a lot when I was young with my family.
Okay, but I'm talking about like out on the street.
But not in the U.S. But yeah.
Wow.
But I don't think I've ever been in a phone booth. I don't think I have ever physically been inside of a phone booth.
Who would have thought someone would ask you if you've been in the phone booth today?
There's a payphone outside Publix in Cool Springs.
Is there really?
A working payphone.
Is it?
There's a working payphone. I went and picked it up. Every so often.
See if it was working?
When I go there, because that's the Publix I go to, I go and pick it up, and every time it's
a
still
relic.
buzzing. It's still, I just think, who in the world is using this thing?
Someone's got to be using it.
It stays there. We got to go from here, though. Hour number 2 coming up next. Coach Mack in about 20 minutes.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. A report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Titans pass rusher Bud Dupree considered day-to-day with an abdomen injury. He is still undergoing testing to determine the severity. According to Fowler, he could miss some time, but no hard timetable. College football, the coaching carousel with an update this morning. Virginia Tech firing head coach Justin Fuente. The former Memphis coach was in his 6th season in Blacksburg. In college hoops, Belmont rallied for a huge overtime win against Furman at the Curb Center, 95-89 the final. The number 23 Lady Vols picking up a ranked win at home over 16th-ranked South Florida, 52-49 final. Tonight, Tennessee State is in action hosting Fisk at the Gentry Center. The Preds now have won 9 of their last 12, and a long road trip continues at the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. That is a 6 p.m. puck drop. U.S. men's national team in action this afternoon. World Cup qualifier against Jamaica, a 4 p.m. kickoff. Nashville Soccer Club's Walker Zimmerman expected to be in the fold. Zimmerman named a finalist for MLS Defender of the Year on Monday, along with Nashville's Joe Willis for Goalkeeper of the Year, and Hani Mukhtar, a finalist for League MVP. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
All right, Tuesday edition of Blaine and Mickey is on, and we appreciate you hanging out with us wherever you are listening and hanging out. Titans with their Tuesday day out, then they'll start getting ready for the Texans.
Oh yeah, them Texans.
The Texans, they won their first game, and then they lost all the rest of them since then. Yeah. They won one. They were 1-0, and now they're 1-8. Yeah. But we talked about them a little offhand. This is the kind of game that fans are like, okay, who's after them? Let's just go ahead. Nobody,
don't do that.
Nobody in the building's doing that.
Oh, no,
nobody in the building down there does that.
But,
Can't do that.
Still knows a few of those people, players as well. And I watched a little bit of tape of the Dolphins. Actually, I watched the Dolphins game, just the last game with Tyrod
Taylor.
Yeah, it's his quarterback, and he made some mistakes, and I think he threw 4 interceptions, but he threw one. He was going out of bounds. He flicked it up just to say he threw it, and the guy intercepted it.
I saw that.
I was like, oh my! But they have some weapons. I like their running back. They had David Johnson. They have Cooks at receiver.
One time, David Johnson was like top 3 paid running back in the NFL.
They got the kid from Denver, the free agent that rushed for 1,000 yards, Lindsey.
Philip Lindsay.
Amendola. They have some weapons. One thing.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, Cooks.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is a horrible team. I'm thinking going into it, watching it, and maybe they weren't playing. They were playing hard, man. And the Dolphins, as we saw, is getting better. And this was just a couple weeks ago. So, and they took them down to the wire, even after having those turnovers. I know David Culley, who coached in Philly when I was there. He's a high-energy, positive affirmation type guy. There's nothing will break him. He will be positive every single day that he is that coach. So I think that'll keep those guys going. They're going to come in here and believe they got a shot. Why not? If your season is over as far as record-wise and making the playoffs, why not spoil it and say, hey, man, but we beat the Titans, and they probably going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. So that you got to find another way to motivate yourself, and then the rivalry within the division and the states and everything else involved with the team moving here and everything else. It's always going to be a big game. And by the way, they're doing the Floyd Reese, Jeff Fisher Ring of Honor too this weekend. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and to keep the momentum going and beating the team you're supposed to beat.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. No letdowns.
Jeremy Fowler of ESPN is reporting this. Bud Dupree with an abdomen issue is still day-to-day. They're doing more tests on him to find out just how severe the injury is. Right now, there's no timetable for knowing anything on that. Just that's out today. Basically, that's out today that there's nothing new. Here's
I know when I tore my abductus longus, by continuing to play with it in Philly, I tore up some abdomen muscles at the same time, and it was black and blue all the way up to my side, all the way going down to my knee, up to like the middle of my stomach on the right side. And because everything starts, when I'm talking, I'm through experience, is everything starts overworking. And so I kept playing with it, and then now all of a sudden I'm hurting my abdomen. So I'm wondering if that was the cause. I'd be interested to see. It doesn't matter what side it was on, but if he's overworking his abs and that's why he's strained it. I mean, it happened so soon, so you want to say, man, was he even warmed up all the way?
Yeah.
But you don't know. He could have been warmed up and ready to go. And your abdomen, your core strength, for all those who are listening, your core strength is one of the things, and that's not like, saying doing all these different, ab exercises. I'm talking about you got to work it different ways and have mobility and be able to have flexibility with them as well in position you're going to have. But was it overworking pulling up his leg? That'd be interesting to hear that. I don't know if anybody will ask that or give us that. But, once you have an injury, if you're not careful with that ACL, as I mentioned before, I would have kept him out the first 3 or 4 games. I wouldn't have played him. He had it too late, and I know he was anxious, and I'm sure he told them he was ready, and he looked good. And he was just starting to get back there, and so you start revving him up a little bit more, and he started looking better. And then now he does it, literally after 1 rep. So I don't know if there was anything they could have done. It's all on him. So at this point, man, that hurts because I think you saw other guys start cramping on the defensive line after that because they weren't used to getting those kind of reps. Mm-hmm. That's how I can just slow your pass rush down. Then all of a sudden now you're playing Autry more on the outside than on the inside. He's a good player outside. He's a great player on the inside. So, man, that's going to be a tough blow here because the defense was carrying him even more so than, Julio's been in and out of the lineup the whole time. This one, I'm interested here. And then for them to be quiet about it a lot and then, tell, a national guy just somewhat of a story.
Right.
That really still gives us no answer.
Right. A story that's not a story.
Yeah.
He's getting looked at.
Yeah, that's not a good sign in my mind. A lot of people would say that's a good sign. But to me, that means they're trying to continue to look at other options and what's going on here and why it happened and everything else. So I know both sides have put in all kind of effort to make sure he stayed healthy because they want him out there and he wanted to be out there. So to me, that may be even bigger than Julio. I would say it is because Julio's been in and out and you've been able to patchwork with a receiver and all the receivers they've had. So this guy here, he was starting to come on. You starting to see glimpses of who Bud Dupree was last season with the Steelers.
And they're going to need that guy. If they're going to do anything in the postseason, they're going to need that guy. So just whatever it takes, get him well.
And sometimes it's just because he's Bud Dupree.
Right.
You don't have to have a sack. It's just because he's Bud Dupree.
Would you kick the tires on?
Uh-oh. Well, you always got these curveballs now,
Le'Veon
man.
Bell. He was cut loose
I just
right
saw
before
that.
the show started. Le'Veon Bell cut loose by the Ravens. He has run 31 times for 83 yards. That's 2.7 yards per carry. He has 2 touchdowns. Boy, once upon a time, that dude was the dude.
Yeah, when he was at Steelers. I haven't watched him a lot. Even when he went to the Jets, he was showing, that he could still get up and go. Probably not. And I say that not just because it's Le'Veon Bell or because he's washed up or anything like that. I just don't know if he really fits the style of runner that they want. He's kind of a patient, cut guy where they want guys to hit the hole and cut back and be a power back. So I don't know if he's that kind of a fit.
At his peak, he was the most patient runner that I ever remember seeing. Mm-hmm. How he would just wait, go. Even down the field as blocks materialized with receivers or whatever, as big as he was, because he's not some little scat back, he still had the ability to start and stop. It was fascinating to me to watch him.
It was interesting to kind of watch his career evolve because he first came in, he was a lot bigger and heavier. Yep. Then he got leaned down, and all of a sudden, then he broke on the scene. And then he was this breakaway back who would be patient and make all these cuts and everything else. So I think he miscalculated, but I'm sure he would see otherwise. He still got a big contract with the Jets, and I think it was the Jets. But nah, I don't know. Asking, he may have has to be released, and maybe he's got a shot somewhere else. Maybe his agent knows. I don't know.
Had a career high in carries in 2017 with 321 at Pittsburgh, and then didn't play in 2018. Then he came back with the Jets, as you said, in 2019. Only lasted 17 games with them. Spent some time on Kansas City.
He has to be released. Or no, he said he would never go back and play with Andy Reid. That was a huge red flag for me.
Yeah.
Because Andy Reid's a great dude. I know him personally. He would have been straight up, no snaking, no, hey, man, tell him one thing in his face, do something the opposite. If it didn't work out, he would have been, hey, man, just didn't work out here, man.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't, he's just one of those kind of guys. He would have said, hey, sorry, I should have got you more reps. It's on me. Le'Veon Bell just blasted him and hit him in the back of the head on the way out the door, man. So here's what happens. So when you do a great dude and everybody knows this guy is a stand-up guy, regardless if it didn't work out or not, you still got to be a pro. That's a red flag for everybody in the National Football League. Even as a player, you go, uh-oh, man. Anybody knows Andy Reid knows, hey, man, he'll tell him straight up. Some of these coaches will tell you one thing in your face, and the next thing you know, you got a phone call and you found up on ESPN that you got cut.
Right.
They're like, what? Well, dang, I just talked to him. He said I was doing a great job.
And for people who don't believe that.
Oh, yeah, believe that. Real easy. I know dudes who that happened to.
Believe that.
Yeah. And to me, that's cowardly by a coach. You're pros. We're all professionals. We're grown men. If you don't have the decency to give me a call or call me into your office and say, hey, man, we got to go in a different direction, then that's cowardly in my opinion. Yeah, and then you're going to tell somebody, tell them something else in their face and then do something else the next day.
It's a grown man league. Just talk to a man like a man. Just tell him, hey, this is what's going on.
You'd be amazed that some people just are not like that.
Yeah.
I'd be amazed. But to me, that shows you if they're high character type people. That's why I said Andy Reid was that dude.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way around it. Some people, not so much. I don't know why that is, though. I mean, you're the one controlling everything. What can they do? I mean, besides, man, thanks for giving me the opportunity. No different than when you're watching Hard Knocks. And, oh, by the way, Hard Knocks is supposed to be starting in the middle of the season?
A Colts Hard Knocks during the season, yes.
What the heck is this? I don't even remember this. Is this true, Lucas? There's going to be a middle of the season Hard Knocks with the Colts?
Yeah, when does that start? Like
next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like mid to end season? I don't know. I wonder how far they're going to go.
Oh, man. That must have been Lucas's idea.
That sounds like a Lucas idea.
Yeah, that was my bad.
I hardly even watched the Cowboys one. Oh, I was so perturbed that they got it again.
I don't know anybody that watched it.
I didn't watch it.
That was the
I haven't watched since the
every
Raiders.
episode of everyone that's ever come out, and I didn't watch this.
What's the last one you watched?
The one before this.
Raiders.
The
Chargers?
Chargers, yes.
I did not watch that one. I watched Raiders, and that was the last one.
Wasn't it Chargers and
And
Rams?
Rams, yeah. It was LA.
Chargers and Rams, yeah.
Yeah, the LA version. I watched it, and I wasn't too happy.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And I actually like Hard Knocks, or want to, but I didn't like it.
Not
I like
anymore,
Coach Mack. He's going to join us next. Blaine and Mickey 1045, The Zone. You hear that music, it only means one thing. It means it's time for our weekly Mac Attack with Coach Mac, who joins us. Coach Mac, how in the world are you doing?
Doing good, Mickey, Blaine. Everything's good. Just grinding on the Texans here. I'm getting ready to, after we do our segment here, I'm going to go into the Titans offices and do Amy and I from the Titans Amy Coach Mac podcast are going to talk with Jeff Fisher. He's going to be our guest this week, so we're going to do that right after we get through here.
Yeah.
Well, tell him we said hi. We saw Amy, but we didn't get a chance to speak. Her and Mike Keith Devat. I think they were.
I will do that.
Yeah, the Ring of Honor's gained a couple new members this weekend, huh, Coach?
Yeah, and very deservedly so. I mean, both of those guys, when you talk about the history and the implementation of professional football, here in the state of Tennessee and really in the Mid-South, I mean, those two guys were the boots on the ground guys, and we're pretty much, shoulder to shoulder all the way through. So it's absolutely, and Amy Adams-Strunk, all major kudos to her for what she has done, since she's taken over. But guys, really, I mean, everything that she has done and the decisions, that she and Kenneth and Barkley and the group have made, it's just been outstanding. And this is another one, with Bum Phillips earlier in the year, and now Jeff and Floyd going in together. I mean, it's just doing all the right things, and I think it'll be a really nice celebration on Sunday here for everybody included, because, and God bless, Floyd Reese. I mean, we lost a really good man when he passed away earlier this year. And, Jeff Fisher is still very important to the city of Nashville and really the state of Tennessee, for what he did and what he continues to do. He's involved in a lot of charitable endeavors that he does not publicize. And believe me, he's always said this was home. He's back here. All his children are here. All his grandchildren are here. So will be a very nice weekend for him and his entire family.
Coach Dave McGinnis joining us. Coach, there's a phrase that I learned from you, and now I say it just out in public. You talk about stacking wins, and this team is on one of those runs right now. They are stacking wins, and it's just a dang hard thing to do in the NFL, no matter who you play each week, and they're doing it right now.
Well, the only way you stack wins is you've got to be able to do, and you've got to be able to do it as a team. And the head coach, of course, leads the way, but the locker room has to fall in lockstep too. You've got to be able to get back to center after a game, whether it's a win or a loss. You have got to be able to get back to center and start concentrating on the next week. This National Football League, if you break it down and you approach it the right way, is a series of 1-week seasons. It's a series of 1-week seasons. You don't look behind and you don't look ahead. You look right at the present moment and your preparation and everything, because every week is different. It's been especially different for this team this year because of playing 82 different players. I've never experienced that in my life, in my 31 years of coaching. I've had some years where we had quite a few injuries, but I've never experienced and been around anything like this. And the fact that they are able to get it back to center, as I say, and get it focused on the next opponent with whoever is available, and then play at a high level. And look, the level that you play at, it's high enough if you win the game. It's hard to win games in this league, guys. All you got to do is just look at the box scores every week. And so that's what they've done a good job of, and they are already centered back on Houston. Believe me, they didn't spend a whole lot of time on that New Orleans game.
Coach Dave McGinnis, our guest. He's brought to you every week by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Need great health care coverage and affordable price? Let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They got you covered, just like we get covered with the Mac Attack each week here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach Mac, I know you're a defensive guy in heart, and, man, the defense has been playing great. But, man, what about Big Jeff these last 2 weeks? Seems like he's turned the corner in not just being a really good player and Pro Bowl player, but a superstar player in the Aaron Donald-type conversations.
Yeah, I mean, and Jeff, along with the rest of that front, Blaine, they've been the big difference. And here is what you got to look at realistically. They started off that ball game against New Orleans just like they finished the ball game against the Rams. But once Bud Dupree went out, and then you had a couple other out, and then all of a sudden, and I've done a lot of national shows since that game. People say, what happened to the rush in the second half? I said they got tired.
They got tired.
You know, because now you didn't have people that you could roll in there, and it started to show because you've experienced it with the big guys in the locker room when they're rushing the passer, and that's work. That's work down in and down out, and this defense has started to ascend when we could roll 4 people in and rush with 4 and cover with 7, however they wanted to deploy those cover people. But Jeffrey Simmons has given us everything he has this whole season. So has Harold Landry. I mean, Harold Landry has had a magnificent year, and then Danico Autry has been a huge, huge addition to what is going on. Bud Dupree was a big part of that. You know, when he was just starting to come, when he was healthy, and then you've got to have Kier Tart roll in there. You've got to have Murchison roll in there. But when you start getting those guys hurt, then all of a sudden the attrition, it not only affects the person that's injured, it affects everybody down the line. So, as I say, watching that second half, and knowing, that they were still rushing as hard as they could, but you've got to be able to roll big guys, especially on defense. You've got to roll big guys on defense. Not so much on the offensive line, but you have to be able to roll big guys on defense. And so that was the problem in the second half.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. Now, let's move forward then in that thought process, what you just said. How do you, as a former DC and head coach, now game plan when let's just assume that Dupree's out this game? I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I have to make that assumption as a coach. How do I change how I run my game plan, especially when I start seeing my guys getting tired now? Maybe first half you can do what you normally do, but second half maybe you come back and maybe do something a little different as far as your scheme and system, or do you stick with what you just do and just try to hope for the best?
Well, you've got to do what you do because here's what it is, though. If he's not going to be available, then you'll have a healthy body to replace him. Blaine, that's the key. Mm-hmm. You know, when you lose somebody during a ball game, that's the issue because your numbers are down so bad. I remember one year we had Kyle Vandenbosch, and he was nursing a hamstring on and off, but we decided he wanted to play. We decided to keep him active at Kansas City. He played for about 3 series, and the hamstring went on him again. But then all of a sudden, Will Hayes goes out of the game too, and now you're down 2, and all of a sudden, because you can't add anybody during the game. And so if it is true that he won't be able to play this week, I don't know that yet, but if it is true, you will have a healthy body there to start the game. So your numbers will be up when the game starts.
Gotcha. Good stuff. I guess now about Tannehill, and that I'm always getting this question, and I feel like he's doing a solid job, but people bringing me his numbers at this point, last year, and his numbers are down. And I go, well, he's still winning, though. Ultimately, that's the goal. So what is your observation of Tannehill at this point of the season?
But he's directing this club to 8 wins so far out of 10 games. He's doing exactly what he's always done. And so, and to me, I don't know who's saying that, and it doesn't really matter. I don't listen.
Fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I don't listen because close your eyes, tell me what you see. That's how much it matters. All I know is what I see in practice, and then in the ball games, he is the guy that they lean on. He is a linchpin of this thing. And so here's what you don't worry about the numbers. You worry about the production during the game, and production during the game. As you well know, and our listeners should know too, that the production during the game, it comes down to, did you win the game? Because you can have all the numbers in the world. This is a question that has a very easy answer. Would you rather have 400 yards passing and not win, or would you rather throw for 212 and have a win? That's an easy answer.
Well said there by Coach Mac, giving us the Mac attack. I guess one more for me. Man, where has your guy Ferkser gone? He's kind of disappeared in this offense. Is it because they're kind of concentrating more on the receiver parts of this offense, a little bit different? Kind of take us through, because he had numbers comparable to Jonnu Smith, as you told us going into the season, and all of a sudden now he's kind of a non-factor this whole season.
Yeah, well, I don't know, how healthy he's healthy enough to play. I don't know, how completely healthy he is, but according to game plan, they're still using the tight ends quite a bit. Interesting that you bring up Jonnu. Jonnu was a healthy scratch last week for New England. Right. That's very interesting too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what his health is. I don't pay attention to New England until we play New England, but I know what's going on here, and that is Ferkser, presumably he was going to be a number one guy, and he got injured early in training camp, and then all of a sudden now he's kind of faded out. So I was just interested in your thoughts on that. But we're on with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, you mentioned Jeff Swaim, and you saw Marcus Johnson have a big game, couple of big games against Lattimore on Sunday. Really the interesting thing about this team each week, and it's become commonplace, is one or two or three or four guys who maybe you don't expect not only contribute but make a huge play, or more than one during the game.
Well, Mickey, again, and you and Blaine follow this team very closely, and I'm talking way back in training camp. You know, the guys that we were talking about in training camp, as far as that second tier of receivers, were Marcus Johnson, okay, and Nick Westbrook-Akina.
Yeah.
You know, and because you could see it on, as I say, I watch practice every day, and you could see what they were doing, and when we went down to Tampa Bay and worked out against them, and Mike and Amy and I would always do those video reports, after every practice. Well, Marcus Johnson, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Marcus Johnson, Nick Westbrook-Akina, after A.J. Brown and Julio and the top guys, and Josh Reynolds at the time. And so these guys have done nothing but work and do what they've been asked to do since they've been here. And now Marcus was hurt, so he came back. Here is the key to me. Really, it doesn't matter how you get on a squad, and it really doesn't matter how you get implemented into a game plan. When you get your chance, take advantage of it. Well, it just so happened that both of these guys have had their chances at various times during this season when they were needed, and they've made it count. And so that's what has to happen. And to me, I never worried about who had the catches. I never worried about who had the yardage. I never worried about who had all the tackles. What I was concerned about was, as a team, and let's throw the special teams in there too, are we doing enough complimentary-wise during the course of the game to be able to win it and flip it? And the thing that you always tell your players during the week when you're practicing, pay attention to what's going on, because you never know which play will flip it. I mean, a special team play flipped this game, right?
Sure did.
But you never know when they're out there, when Craig Ackerman's out there working on kickoff coverage, every week, and saying, all right, here we're going to kick it here. Here's the lanes. Here's the switch releases we want to run. You never know which play is going to free up a guy to make a difference. And that's why it's so important to be able to get back to center every week and start over from zero, but pay attention to 100.
And I was going to say Chester Rogers is another guy from that group who had some opportunities and made some plays and has found a role on this team. And, Coach, there were a couple times he was able to just field punts on a windy day to save this team a bunch of hidden yards. Blaine talked about that in the postgame. The other thing was he finally got his hands on one and got basically 9-10 yards. He's been just a real nice addition, too, on offense when needed, but on special teams a lot.
Yeah, and Blaine's 100% right about the catching the punts. I'm glad he brought that up. I mean, I know he's done that in his career too. And let me just tell you something. That's hard. That's hard to do, and especially that wind Sunday was really tricky, because we've got the windows open up there in the booth, and several times with those field goals attempts, Mike always asked Amy Wells down on the field, what's the wind doing? And I mean, it was a tricky wind, and so catching those punts is no easy task. And Blaine is 100% right in that observation, and that was a big part of it too. We didn't have any hit the ground. We didn't lose any hidden yardage because they were bouncing, and he caught them all.
Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, I guess lastly for me, Coach Mack, that is kind of give us an overview. I watched the Texans versus Dolphins. I wanted to see him with Tyrod out there. Taylor playing quarterback. He had a lot of turnovers. They lost the game, but they stayed in the game. And one thing was surprising to me is they still got some skill guys, but they were playing hard.
Yes.
You could give us your observation of them. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I just got through watching that, and doing the details on it. Absolutely, they do. Look, you were with David Culley at Philly,
yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've known David Culley for a long time. Look, those players are going to play for him, and I saw the same thing. I've seen the same thing. I've gone back and watched several of it. They play extremely hard. I mean, you're not looking at a football team. Sometimes at this point in the season, when you're 10 weeks in, if somebody's not having a lot of success, you can look at them and say, you know what, about that second to fourth quarter, it just looks like they're trying to get back to the locker room and get in the shower and go home. That's not this group. This group was playing from wall to wall. And I agree with you 100% on that, Blaine. And plus, look, It's Nashville and it's Houston. It's the Titans and the Texans. That's always going to be a sandpaper game. So I promise you, the Tennessee Titans are getting geared up for this one.
Little curveball question for you here, outside the box. Everybody likes to know what Coach Mack is doing, the man in black, but that is, do you have Christmas decorations up now, or do you wait till after Thanksgiving?
Let me tell you something. My place is always decorated up. It's on Thanksgiving. For Halloween it's decorated in August, and then for Thanksgiving it's right after Halloween, and then absolutely everything's up. It looks like Santa's village.
Oh, Coach Mack, everybody join us over Coach Mack's house. I'll tweet out his address later.
If you guys don't have yours up, then you need to.
Oh, Christina Ryan's got that handled, Coach. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm sure Blaine Bishop's got some instructions too.
He does.
Yeah, I do. Go up to the attic and get him.
Go to the attic. That's right. Hey, what do you – Lovie Smith has been around this league. I know he had a detour at Illinois, but what do you expect to see from Lovie Smith's defense? What are they going to throw at this Titans run game and offense on Sunday?
Lovey's always been a zone guy. You know, he's always been a Tampa 2 guy, but plays very solid run defense. He's a lot of single gap. He will fire. He will pressure rush some with his backers, which means if their coverage man is blocking, they will pressure instead of staying back. He's always been very, very solid. I've always, I know Lovey very well. I've always appreciated his approach to it, and his approach has always been defensively very, very much technique oriented. Extremely technique oriented, and really this time of the season, you can ask Blaine sitting right there with you. At this time of the season, when your body starts to take some hits, it's those techniques that carry you through. And his defenses have always been very technique sound.
No doubt. On the way out, what did you see with Peterson and Foreman in week 2? What can they do to get better even in week 3 for those two?
Well, I mean, look, you can always get better. Okay, sure. You can always get better. Now you're talking about two veteran backs, and guys, a lot of running back stuff has to do with what goes on in front of them, right? I mean, that's just the way it is.
Sure.
And so what's going to have to happen is we still have not established in 2 weeks a rhythm to this run game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
it
sir.
Still has not established a rhythm to it. It's always, and the last week it looked like it was a little better. There was some push, but you need to get a rhythm, because as a defense, when people start getting into a rhythm with a run game going at you, that's when it's hard to dig your cleats in the ground and get it stopped. We still have not gotten, I don't think, all the chains in the spokes yet on this running game. And plus, I mean, this is the 3rd week of it. This will be the 3rd week of practice now. So I think they both just need to continue to get in rhythm with everybody. It's not just the backs. It's everybody else that's involved in that run game.
Coach Mack, thank you, man. Great stuff as always, and can't wait to talk to you again next week after this Texans game.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Love being on with you guys. Go put your Christmas trees up.
Oh, ho, ho.
That's what Coach Mack says. Listen to Coach Mack. Get the Christmas
That's what
tree up.
his bobblehead said, too, over there.
That's right. When we come back, I got a couple of stats about the run game that Coach Mack was talking about. We'll get into that. And there's a crazy number out there for how big the NFL might get team-wise. Crazy number for how big the league might get. I will share that next.
Ooh.
You're going to say, wow.
Good, man. Hopefully it means increasing the rosters. I've been
you
saying
won't-
that for years.
You won't believe it. That's next.
No one wants to go to the vehicle repair shop. It's like going to the doctor for an operation. The typical first reaction is, how do I know that I really need what they say I need? Well, sometimes you're really wondering if you're getting a repair recommendation or you're making someone else's mortgage payment. Blaine Bishop will tell you that people are tired of getting bamboozled. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of auto repair shops, come on over to Eurofix. Eurofix repairs everything European. So if you feel like you've been lied to or taken advantage of when it comes to auto repair, come and check out Eurofix. It's a place you can trust. Eurofix will always tell you the difference between a recommendation and a must-do. Get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection at every visit, no appointment necessary. Just come when you want to come. And Eurofix also offers a free nationwide 3-year, 36-month warranty on all work, plus a free rental car with reservation on every repair so you're not stranded sitting around all freaking day. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, Monday through Friday, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine sent you.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Little Tom Petty. Thank you, Lucas, for that. I always love hearing it. So, a couple stats on the way out. Number one, Pro Football Talk. Lucas, you have to take a guess at this if you haven't seen it. So, the Rams are in all this litigation over losing the team and how all that worked. Yeah. So, there's a thought that as part of the litigation, the NFL will just say, okay, you can have an expansion team. Will that stop this match?
Yeah. Stop this match in the court system.
Yes. So the other team the other city that keeps getting mentioned is London. They're playing games there. They're going to get a team eventually. It's just going to happen. Oh. So everybody's like, okay, 34 teams. Does that make any sense number-wise? It doesn't. Do you know how many teams? I read about it earlier today. The number that is apparently not just being thrown around in media circles, but even in the big office at Manhattan where the sheriff hangs out. Goodell, take a guess.
Don't tell us the numbers. Wait a minute. You got to tell us where the potential cities are.
Only London and St. Louis. It said the rest.
You act like it's a big number. You said 34 doesn't work.
No, it's a big number.
Well, where are they getting the rest of the people
from? In the
from?
story on Pro Football Talk, he said the rest of the cities would be smaller cities in the U.S. who would build smaller stadiums.
Okay, thank you for that hint. And I'm going to Alabama first.
Smaller cities like
Birmingham.
Like what? Like Chattanooga? Like that kind of
ding dong. No, not Chattanooga.
Like Birmingham or
San Antonio, who's been trying to get one forever.
Louisville or
yes, Louisville.
Okay, I'm gonna say I'm scared of what you're gonna tell us. I'm gonna say 40.
What do you say?
You said big number. Big number from 32 to.
I mean, not like 60 or anything. Don't think that. It was a big number to me. Amar says in the Zone TV chat, Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis. Ooh, that's right down around the corner. I don't know. That's only 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
that's close. But Louisville's closer.
Louisville's close,
and Atlanta's about the same.
I'm
gonna go 42.
It is 40 is the number.
Yeah, that's what Lucas.
Because if it's 40, the idea is then that you can have 8 divisions of 5 teams and 16 teams can make the playoffs.
Oh,
8 out of both sides.
Oh.
And you know they'll do it.
And then with 20 games.
100%.
20 games. They got to get to 18, then 20. Lucas like, nah, that's not
gonna happen. Imagine that?
Happen.
A lot of games.
You'll be. I'll be in my rocking chair, and you'll be calling games by then.
gotta have roster size up to like 80 at that point.
So you're playing more games, so you will have to have bigger rosters, and then you would have 40 teams. Think about how watered down. Because people say there's not enough quarterbacks for 32 teams. Is there enough quarterbacks for 40 teams?
Yeah, you just be on a bad team. There's always enough bodies.
There's enough quarterbacks, yeah.
You're going to find some bodies, man.
People have been griping about Major League Baseball for years saying there's not enough pitchers to be even on the current number of teams.
Really?
Oh, gosh.
Well, I mean, starting pitching has just become, you just make it to the 5th.
That's all you got to do.
Well, there's barely enough kickers to go around.
Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty of kickers out there.
So there we go, 40 teams possibly.
You look limber, man. Can you kick? You're a soccer player.
I can maybe make an extra point.
My son loves to punt, and I'm like, hey, don't ever forget this love of punting. Just keep punting, little rascal, especially now if you got 40 teams to possibly be on. There you go. Have to get Uncle Brett Kern to show him how to do some of that.
Hey,
here's the other number.
Bringing the heat. The mixter.
So this is my stats, and I try to hit Blaine with stats sometimes. I try not to waste your time. I know you don't like frivolous stats, but
I like stats.
This is Tennessee Titans, the last 2 games rushing the football.
Oh, yeah.
And I know these are 2 good defenses, but this is where they are, last 2 games rushing the football. Versus the Rams, 26 carries, 69 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. Against New Orleans, 29 carries, more carries, 66 yards, less yards. I know they're the number 1 rush defense, 2.3 yards per carry in those 2 games. So the last 2 games without the King, 55 for 135, 2.45 yards per carry. You do have the Texans up next. They're 31 against the run in the league. Do you think this team can maybe get a little bit more this weekend? I know Lovie Smith's going to do his best to stop them. It's a division game. There'll be guys who know this team well on the Texans, even though they made a bunch of changes. But there's still guys on that team who know the Titans well. But it'd be a heck of a week to start figuring that out because this is a run-first team. They ran more than they passed last week. And as you pointed out, once you get to the playoffs, everybody's good and every defense is good.
Yeah, most of the time. So
that
I would assume that they're going to be able to run the football better than that. That's for sure. I would say got to start making big strides since they're 31st. The Texans, that don't mean they're going to go crazy, but I would hope they were getting close to 100 yards a game. I think this offense and style, you can't keep thinking you're going to win games this way, especially if the defensive front four is minus one of their key cogs. So you got to put up you got to feel like you got to play enough to have another series by the offense. They got to be able to drive. So that's the running game. So Tannehill is going to start throwing around a yard. I don't know if they really want to do that with no reason to. So I think they're going to get real close to 100. Got to get close to 100.
Keep the chains moving. Get some more first downs. There you go. All right, we are out of first downs for today. It's time for us to get out of here. 3HL, I'm checking it right now. Buffalo Wild Wings in Hermitage, and they got Jeremy McNichols there with them.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is going to be a big day. So get out to Hermitage, have some wings, and meet McWeapon, and hang out with the 3HL crew. They got you covered today up until 6 o'clock. But right now, it's time for us to pack up this tent, head on down the road.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
And as always, Mickey,
you know what it is.
Peace.